All right, I think we're live. Can you guys hear me? Can you put in the comments if you can hear me? I am using a new computer tonight. That's not mine. And I'm all flustered. So sorry for the delay. I have to actually get on YouTube and throw some wrenches out really quick. How's everybody doing? It's been a minute since we've been live. Tisha's not with me tonight. She is at home doing some things with her family, but I have two of our admins with us who recently joined forces with us. We have quite a team these days. So, hi, Randy. Oh, he has to unmute his mic. And hi, Christina. They're both here.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
I don't know why. That's really weird. I can hear you on my computer, but not in my mic. You guys can hear me okay, right?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Okay. All right. Maybe, my mic might have came unplugged. Give me just 1 second. It's probably what it is. All right, now I can hear you. Okay, so we are here tonight to talk about the ever unfolding case of missing Tylee Ryan, who is 17, I believe, and her little brother JJ. How old is JJ? Is he 7? 11? 7. He's 7. Okay. He's 7 years old. They are both missing. The last known interaction with them was September 23rd, I believe. Is that date correct?
That's correct.
And
for JJ, we don't know about Tylee. It just says September.
Right. Yeah, so the last interaction with JJ was September 23rd when his grandparents had a 35-second FaceTime call with him. And I don't think that's normal because JJ does have autism, and they said that he would call or FaceTime repeatedly. It was something that he did all the time, and it was very short, and then they never heard from him again. Oh, my friend Will's here, the Glarer. He's one of my really, really close friends. He also works with us on the Heidi Broussard case, or Broussard. So we need to get down to the basics of this case. Let me just get situated here. Aw, car guy, hey, how are you? It's been a minute. All right, so where do you guys want to start? Should we start with the cult, or should we start with what has unfolded in the last couple days, or should we just start with the basics?
Let's start with the basics.
Okay. Do you want to go ahead with that, Randy? I know you have a lot of information, and anybody who's watching who's from Roden, these are some of our newer admins. Again, they just joined our team. They're awesome. They're amazing. They find some great information, and we are so happy to have them working with us.
Yeah, so like you said, we appreciate that a lot, and I'm really glad to be a part of the RMT squad. Means a lot. So yeah, like you said, the time that JJ was seen at his elementary school, and then there's not an exact date for Tylee. They don't. It's sometime in September. Was roughly what they said, and her birthday is the 24th of September, so the day after JJ was last seen at school. So then you fast forward to I guess in November or October, you got Chad's wife who passed away on the 19th. And then there was just going through real quickly the basics. The 26th was the day of the grandparents called in on the welfare. And then the 27th was when Chad and Lori fled. So
yeah, it's really
26th,
crazy.
yeah. So
They
that's what I was
have.
to say. That go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, it's fine. I was just saying the 26th is when they said that JJ was in. See that well before JJ, and so the 26th they tell him he's in Arizona with a family friend, and then when the law enforcement checked up on that, they came back next day when he was not found, and that's when they had left. So
Yeah, it's hard to even wrap your mind around how much is going on in this case because we've seen some crazy cases. I think we all came together. I met you guys, Tisha and I met you guys through the Michael and Casey Jones case. And Randy, I know you were following the Cupcake McKinney case and you were deep into that one. And then along comes this case. And so far we have Lori Vallow's husband, Charles, who was shot and killed in July by her brother, Alex. We have Chad Daybell's wife, who mysteriously suddenly died in, is that October? Yes,
yeah, October 19th.
October. She just went to bed and never woke up. We have, was it what day? Alex, Lori's brother Alex is actually the one who shot and killed her husband Charles, and then he all of a sudden comes up dead.
And then after they exhumed Tammy's body.
Yes, the day after they exhumed Chad's body. And then there is Brandon, who there was an attempted murder on. And now there are 2 missing kids. And these 2 people, Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, follow 2 very prominent, I don't even want to associate them with the LDS church because I don't really believe, I know that a vow or whatever, a voice of warning is not associated with the church at all. But they follow these 2 groups that the mainstream media has actually recently labeled as cults. And their beliefs are actually, it's like psychosis. You can't even wrap your head around what they believe.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's pretty scary, really, when you think about it, that they can convince people to buy into this way of life where, they say that some of them believe that the world will end in July of this year, which is really nuts to wonder if that's something that maybe they're preparing for. I don't know. I mean, I'm really not sure.
Yeah, it's nuts. And they're actually, Lori and her deceased husband, Charles' divorce documents were released today. And just reading those, like, she made death threats to him in there.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't even know where to begin with it because we know how much information we have and we know how much information that we've all discussed amongst ourselves and in our group. Our group has grown significantly just in the last week. I think, it's very large all of a sudden. People are very interested. It's just crazy.
Yeah. I think Heidi Broussard's case did a lot for that also. I think that there was a lot of interest, national interest in that story. And then something comes along like this that's pushing the envelope even further.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah. The Glare said whenever these weirdos have a mass belief in doomsday, it usually ends in mass suicide, which is interesting because Lori actually made comments about driving off a cliff.
Yeah.
They should all just get in the car and drive off the cliff and die together. And now she's not cooperating with the investigation. The FBI has said that these children are missing and endangered. And I actually went like head to head with the leader of A Voice of Warning, who told me that I was just reading mainstream media. They were painting an agenda. A Voice of Warning saw this as a good trial study to study the media. I can't remember his exact words, but I'm like, at the end of the day, 2 kids have been labeled missing and endangered by the FBI. The FBI, they don't play games. They're serious. They're not going to say that these kids are missing and endangered to paint a media agenda. So it's
Yeah,
just
but I think
crazy.
that they believe that. I think they believe that they are painting a media agenda against this couple that believes these things that they know to be true. That's what's
Yeah.
so wild. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. We have a lot of information. I don't know if we should go ahead and I mean, it's just so much.
Yeah.
You don't even know
Whatever.
where to start. We
Right.
I think it was
It's
about
very confusing.
2 weeks prior to Chad Daybell's wife being found dead in bed. 2 weeks prior, she made a post that I found and shared, and actually East Idaho News actually wrote an article with that post. She made a post about a masked gunman in her driveway. And when you look at where they lived, it was very, very out there in the boonies and not really somewhere you would expect somebody to show up with a ski mask and a gun out of the blue. Um,
Yeah, that's on the
That post was
6th,
really
or
just
that was on the
strange.
9th of October, and that was 10 days before she passed away in her bed.
10 days. Wow. What'd
Yeah.
you say, Christina? I'm sorry.
That post was really just strange and out there the way it was worded.
It was. It was. It was
Didn't make
seriously
sense.
crazy. Yeah. And I believe
Makes
it
me
was
think
shared.
about hitting somebody with food instead of, running or screaming or
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It was crazy. So I guess this is what we know. With the divorce documents, Charles filed for divorce. Was it January of 2019?
February.
Hmm.
February. Okay. February of 2019. He was out of town, went to go get on a flight that he had previously booked, and was informed that his flight was canceled. And he's like, what the heck? He has to buy another ticket and spend like $600 to get home. He gets home, or actually, he gets to the airport, he lands, he goes to get his truck. His truck is gone. Lori has drained the bank account, like drained it. 30, I saw what, $35,000
Yeah.
that was gone. She took his truck from the airport so that when he got off his plane at home, he didn't even have a vehicle to drive. He got home, she had taken the kids, the service dog, the iPad, and then he finally got the kids back and she wanted nothing to do with them. Um,
She
and
greater mission to carry out.
right. Yeah, she had a mission to carry out. She believed that she lived in past lives and her husbands were these Mormon prophets. It's just insane. And here we are, present day. The kids have been unaccounted for over 3 months, and her new husband won't cooperate with police. There is her and Chad married like 2 weeks after. 2 weeks after his wife of decades was found dead in bed, Chad marries Lori, and now Lori's kids are missing, and Lori and Chad are in hiding and won't cooperate. It's really, really nuts.
Yeah, what adds to that, the police report that was released, I can't remember, was it Monday? Anyway, the report that was released was that Chad had told witnesses that Lori's daughter Tylee had been dead for 2 years, and
What?
then that she didn't have any minor kids. So, I mean, that makes it sound as if he didn't know, but then he also helped cover it up later on when they were questioned by the police, and then they fled together. So, yeah,
Right.
it said that she had been dead for a year, before her father, who was Joseph Bryan, died in 2018. So,
That's
yeah.
just, it's hard to believe. And what do we know about, how do we say it? Is it a vow? A vow? I don't know.
I
I say
I
AVAL, but
guess
I
it's
don't know.
Aval
You
is the way
say
I
a
would
vow?
pronounce it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I pissed off their leader pretty good.
I think we all did that.
He got really mad, and they came at us yesterday telling us that, well, first they were trying to discredit us, and then today preparing a people, which is another
Oh, that was last
organization.
night.
Okay, it was last night, which is another organization that Chad and Lori are deeply involved with, have convinced themselves that we are all fake. The admins of RMT are all fake, and we're being paid by George Soros. So I can't even with this stuff. It's nuts. It's nuts.
It gets crazier each time. And the police are even validating a lot of this with the reports that were released today, with the way that she treated Charles, and then for him to continue to stay around after that was what was so bizarre. Because
Right.
that was in, like you said, February, and July was when the altercation happened. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
She also threatened
and they
to
weren't
murder
divorced at that point.
Angel to help
They
dispose of
they
the
were
body.
so-called estranged, but no legal divorce.
Right. Right. What was that, Christina? I'm sorry, you cut out.
Oh, she also, threatened to murder him and have an angel help her dispose of the body in those court documents.
Oh my
But yet,
gosh.
the actual murder was self defense. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, the murder was self-defense. It doesn't make any sense. And everybody who's spoken about Charles has said that he was the kindest man.
That he wasn't violent at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And Lori's brother tried to say that he hit him with the baseball bat, so he shot him and killed him.
And
And
she told her oldest son Colby that he had a heart attack.
yeah. Yep. Yep.
It's
And
just
then
insane.
it's just, you have to wonder how people get away with this, or how it goes unnoticed until the fact that there's three dead spouses. Right? Yeah, because
Yeah.
Lori's husband that she had Tylee with is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Charles is dead. Chad's wife, Tammy, is dead. They have a trail of body bags longer than the Clintons, and I'm not even trying to be political. It's just crazy. It's crazy.
And the brother's dead.
Yeah.
Alex is dead.
Yes, the brother's dead.
Yeah.
The brother's dead the day after Chad's wife is
Yeah.
exhumed, because there was no autopsy on her in the beginning. No autopsy. no
Yeah.
autopsy, and they deemed it natural causes when I think she was 49 at the time she died.
Yeah.
They deemed it natural causes that she wakes up and or he wakes up and finds his wife dead, and it's just natural causes at the age of 49, which is insane. I've never heard anything like that in my life. I mean, here, I don't know how it is everywhere else for everybody who's listening and watching. Here, any death that is not, so if you don't die in hospice care, or you don't die in the hospital, or you don't have chronic conditions, if you are found dead in your home and you are of like good health, and you have no known like chronic diseases, and you were fine the day before, here they won't even let you not have an autopsy. They take the body immediately to the coroner's office to find out what happened. That didn't happen in this case with Chad's wife. It's crazy.
Well, who goes to bed
Yeah.
with a coughing fit? You can't breathe hardly.
It's definitely crazy.
Right, right. And when Alex died, I believe they said he was foaming at the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to wonder.
And his 13-year-old witnessed the whole thing and called 911.
And Alex's 13-year-old son was present for that. So I guess that's where that story came from,
Yeah,
or that
that's
witness came from, anyway.
yes, yes. So far we know that Lori met Chad because she began reading his books, I believe, and she became obsessed with him. And for everybody who's watching, if you're in our Facebook group, I will drop the link shortly, but you can find all the information there. The books, it's like, I don't know, delusional. It's nuts. It's nuts. They just have,
Ridiculous.
yeah. It's literally like you feel like you're looking at somebody's who's written books after taking a massive amount of drugs. It's nuts.
Mm.
And I can see why the feds believe that these children are endangered, because I'm
Oh,
sure that they have read everything that we've read, and then some, of course.
right.
Um, and person looking at it, a normal person looking at it cannot look at it and say, "Oh yeah, these people are normal."
Mm-mm. There's no way.
It's crazy, absolutely crazy. So,
But you also have when 3 weeks before Tammy died, Julie Rowe and Chad contacted each other and asked, did they still see, her dying? And they said yes.
oh yeah, that was another thing. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Chad spoke about his wife dying for a year. Was
Year.
it a year or longer before she died? He talked about his visions of her death and how she was going to die, and she was perfectly healthy. She was,
She did marathons, they said.
yeah, yeah. It's just nuts. I mean, you have Chad who, and I'm not laughing because I think any of it's funny. I'm laughing because I can't even wrap my head around it.
Because it's
Um,
so insane.
yeah, it's beyond insane. You have Chad who had visions of his wife's death, for years, at least a year before she died. And then you have Lori who told her dead husband that she was going to kill him and an angel was going to help her bury his body. So I can't even. I can't even with these people. So
There's way too many moving parts.
there are,
There's way too many details that on the peripheral around, and the whole thing is based around the missing kids, but that seems to get clouded by all the deaths that surround or that are left in Lori's wake.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you can't the focus is definitely on the missing kids. We need to figure out where these kids are. Thousands and thousands of people are following this case, and everybody wants to know where are these kids. But then you have cults coming in and delusional visions, and some lady on YouTube, Julie Rowe, making all her prophecies, who's been excommunicated by the LDS church. And I just,
And she has visions of the children sitting in a living room.
And I think that is where the story of Lori's, I mean of Tammy's death in a car accident or something like that came from.
yeah, yeah. Will said he feels so fucked up because he keeps laughing. Same. I mean, you can't. And like when we laugh, we don't laugh because the kids are missing, and we genuinely want to know where these kids are. We're worried for them. But the stuff that we read and the stuff that we say after you say it, you're like, did I just say that? Did that really just come out of my mouth that some woman is having prophecies about an angel helping her bury her husband's dead body? And if you guys read the stuff that she wrote and said,
She also called him Nick Schneider
mm-hmm.
and said that, Nick, killed him and took his identity. I don't even know who Nick Schneider's supposed to be, but
Yeah, we haven't figured that out yet. It's sad, man. It's so sad. And what's crazy is when you call a cult, whew, does it piss them off? Oh, there's there's nothing that makes them madder than being called what they are. It's crazy. Melanie said, "Don't forget Brandon, Lori's niece's husband that was almost killed." Yes, he had an attempted murder on him, and I believe he's in hiding. Right?
yes, with
Well,
their
that
4
that seemed
kids.
to be what started the whole investigation in Arizona. Really, was that Tylee's car was supposedly that was caught on video. This shooting, and Tylee's car was supposedly the one used or something like that. And then that's where this all started coming back around, tracing it and tying a lot of the details together.
Right.
But yeah,
Right.
Melanie was Lori's niece, right? It was her
Yeah.
her mother was Alex's sister who passed away, and that's the one that he was found using her credit card or something like that online.
Yeah.
You'll have to help me out with the details on that because it's nuts too.
I think Christina probably knows those details a little bit better than I do. It's like, thank God there's so many of us because there's so many details that no, not I don't think two people would be able to keep up with this case.
No way.
Um,
Stacy died back in 1998. They said from a diabetic shock. Melanie was real young.
Yeah.
They said that he was the one with her when she died, and he was using her credit cards at the time while she was, already dead.
wow. Wow. That's
And he
nuts.
seemed like Alex was Lori's hitman for everybody.
Yes. That's what
Like
it
they
does
had
seem
something
like.
over him, or he was real easy to convince, or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's definitely what it seems like. Um,
Of course, and then he ends up dead, the one that knew everything.
how convenient, right?
Mm-hmm.
How convenient. I know we have a lot of family members in the group, and it's sad, especially because Colby, who is Lori's son, he's an adult. He had no idea his siblings were missing. And I know he's not in there, but his wife is. And then some family members of JJ's are in there because Lori and her husband, who's dead, Charles, actually adopted JJ, and he has autism. and it was an open adoption, and JJ's grandparents were supposed to be able to see him and stuff. And from my understanding, they're the ones who did the welfare check, and if it wasn't for them, I don't know if any of us would even know that these kids were missing today.
Probably not.
Because
nobody would have questioned anything. Charles or Tammy, it doesn't seem like any of those things would have ever been questioned had that not happened.
Yeah.
They have a lot of people protecting them.
They do. Well, they have a cult protecting them.
Mm-hmm.
And George Soros did not pay me to say that. Absolutely zero payments to take in all this unbelievable, crazy stuff. So, Will said that leads him to believe even more that a mass suicide is probably in the works. I'm concerned about that. I believe the feds have been in contact with Lori and Chad, and they've lawyered up and made a statement through their lawyer. But if they have nothing to hide, why not produce the kids?
Yeah.
Show them. Show everybody that they're okay. Something's not right. Something's not right.
And the lawyer
I feel like that law enforcement does know where they are.
Do you think they do?
I think they do. I think they're a flight risk, and so it may be just them just accumulating evidence while they can, and allowing them to stay where they're at, thinking they don't. But that's just, maybe that's hopeful thinking, just being optimistic. But
yeah, I'm trying to stay very optimistic. That JJ and Tylee are hidden somewhere, because these cults, they do have training camps that are hidden, and they send people there to groom them and train them. And not that I think that that's a great thing for those kids to be there, but I think that I would be happier to find out that that's where they're at than to find out that Lori and Chad have done something to them.
yeah.
So
there was one.
Yeah, I think my optimism was more about knowing where Chad and Lori were. I do have a bad feeling about the kids.
I know.
For sure.
I know.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary. Yeah. Yeah. Even the glare Will said he thinks it's safe to simply want to focus on where the kids' bodies are at this point. So sad.
Yeah.
I just, I think that's probably realistic. Just for myself and my own heart, I don't want to believe that until I absolutely have to, But
it's hard.
Being realistic, I think if you look at the facts and how many dead bodies they have surrounding them already, and these kids have not been seen in going on 4 months. I mean, we're into January, so it's crazy. It's crazy. I don't understand. I have a hard time understanding how people can protect people like Lori and Chad. Because at the end of the day, JJ and Tylee are kids. They're kids.
They're innocent.
No matter what your crazy radical beliefs are, if you want to be a doomsday prepper and have your tent cities and do all your crazy nonsense with your websites with paywalls and all of the above, that's fine. But these are kids. You don't hurt innocent children. You don't protect people who are hiding innocent children. You just, I don't know. It's not okay.
And you don't try to divert.
Well, I think the sentiment, even you can see it inside the group, is that most feel that kids are safe. Most of the people that tend to side on Chad and Lori's side, they think the kids are safe, and they think it's just being overblown. And maybe that's just them having the same belief system. That's something either they've been told or lied about. But for all intents and purposes, I mean, it seems like Chad was a pretty decent guy before all of this craziness started.
Yeah, it did seem like that. I mean, he lived a normal life with his wife. It seemed like, they had, I think it was 5 kids that are all adults now. Um, something
I mean,
happened. Something
yeah,
happened.
I don't know if we can trace that back to Lori entering his life at some point that caused
Right.
that shift in him. Because I mean, she's 5 years younger or whatever. Um, but I mean, and every all the talk about Tammy has been pretty glowing also. So it seems like they were happy, at some point.
Absolutely. Um, we do know that Chad's house that he shared with his deceased wife Tammy was searched yesterday. Um, I think they were there all day long searching. Victims advocates or victim specialists were brought in to the families of Tylee and JJ. There was an article shared tonight that said that evidence was found yesterday, I believe, at the house. And they specifically said yesterday when they were searching that they were looking for chemical and blood evidence. So that doesn't sound good. I don't know. To my knowledge, Tammy's autopsy is not back yet from when she was exhumed, but something had to give them probable cause to get a warrant on that house yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, and when you hear that she died from a coughing fit or had a coughing fit before she passed, you wonder where that blood evidence comes from. But then the article today that they released said that they found evidence, at least some small parts of evidence.
Yes. Yes, they did release that. And um
And
they didn't say what evidence, but
Yeah,
they
but
were
they
using
did say it would
metal.
take months. Wasn't that right? It would take months to get the results back on that.
Yeah,
on the yeah. Yep,
on the evidence.
definitely.
They also
Definitely.
used metal detectors in the yard.
Yeah, what would they be looking for? Because I was trying to figure that out yesterday. So she died and it was presumed natural causes, okay? So she wouldn't have died a bloody violent death. She
Right.
by all accounts would have looked like she was sleeping.
Hmm.
So why were they looking for blood and why were they using metal detectors?
I thought
Yeah,
maybe they were for an
the metal
underground
detectors
bunker.
doesn't. I mean, it is a 3 acre lot there, so if they're thinking the kids are still central to that area, I guess his location would be more likely to find if they did bury a body there, it would be more likely to find it on that 4 acre lot than it would be in the vicinity of Lori's apartment.
Right.
So yeah.
Will said that he thinks it'll be more like a Jonestown thing based on the manner of death from the others. I agree. I agree. I think it's very, very scary. We've been referencing Jim Jones actually because it's literally, well, when you read the stuff that these followers write and believe, you can't wrap your head around it. It's literally like they drank tainted Kool-Aid. It's crazy.
Yeah, this is more than your typical like being prepared for like 3 weeks off of work. These people are preparing for an
Right.
end of the world type situation.
Right, right, right. Yeah, they're definitely preparing and they take doomsday preppers to the next level. It's extreme, extreme. I know we have a list of everything that I believe we have a list of their manual. You found their manual, didn't you, Christina?
Yes. They're going to live in hidden tent cities. Nobody's going to be able to see them. Even helicopters that fly over, they'll be invisible to. They have to have a minimum 1 year supply of food or they cannot go. They're not allowed to go. They have to hand over their food And if anyone misbehaves in the camp, they will be handled, punished, and banished with nothing to take with them.
That's crazy.
I personally am not going to give up my food to anybody.
Car guy, you don't know who I am, do you? I don't. Who are you? I know you followed us on Rodin and you've always been on our lives.
I think it's Joe.
Is it Joe?
I think so.
Aw. I'll have to give Joe a wrench if that's who it is. It looks like him. Ha ha ha. The glare, even Will knew. How did I not know that? Well, isn't the term doomsday prepper an oxymoron though? It totally is. Because how do you prep for the end of the world? I mean, if it's coming and the world's over, what do you have to prep for?
Right.
Right?
That is a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's coming, there's nothing you can do about it. That's out of
Right.
our hands. Aren't most LDS preppers. These are extreme preppers. All Mormons are trained to prep for disaster. Amy, that's a good point. That's
Yeah, and
been
that was
brought
my
up.
that was kind of my point, is that they're way more extreme than just your typical LDS prepper. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna last. They're looking to last longer than the 3 week to 2 month period that most prep for.
Yeah, they are. And
The church doesn't endorse their manual.
no, they don't. And actually, did we find out if the church excommunicated Chad? I know they
It
ex.
hasn't been said.
Oops, go ahead.
It hasn't been said yet. The church hasn't spoke out, and their spokesperson wouldn't comment on it.
Okay. I know they excommunicated Julie Rowe, the one who did her podcast.
Oh, the visionary, yeah. The one that, at one time was Joan of Arc and Mary Magdalene.
Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Yeah, she got excommunicated because she basically rewrote the Bible stories with her visions. Is my understanding that
And publicly, tried to divert the church members into believing her
It's
instead. I'll just
it's
no.
nuts. It's nuts.
it's really hard to figure out how much of this the people at the top actually believe. It seems like it's a way to line pockets and to prey on those that already are a part of the Mormon faith, that are built to prep, and it just seems like it exploits that a little bit. So it's hard to tell how much they truly believe. The
Yeah,
leaders anyway.
right. Right. Will, anytime I say Will, I'm talking about the glare. Anybody who's listening now, you guys should go give him a like and follow. He's one of my close friends. His channel is not true crime, although he talks about it sometimes. But he's more about self-awareness and all that good stuff. He's got an awesome channel. Awesome channel. Um Amy said she can't speak fact, but her good friend is a Mormon LDS. She has 11 children. She has to have enough food supplies for her entire family for 1 year. It's crazy. That'd be a lot of food and
We
supplies with 11 kids,
Damn, how
we
much
have a
storage would
lot
you
of
have to have?
LDS members.
right?
That's a lot of storage.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I can't imagine.
There
Um
was a guy on one of those LDS forums that said that his family
Yeah, I think
bought in.
Morgan's right. They don't release a lot or anything on that really. But there are people that have said that they sat next to Chad in church. So and where he moved is like 98% Mormon. I would think that if he were excommunicated, it would be hard to fit in an area like that if he weren't
Yeah.
accepted into the church.
Yeah, I think that Julie Rowe actually said it herself. So
That's if
she's
you can take her at face value.
right.
But
Yeah.
I've understood it as the member has to speak on it and the church won't.
The member speaks on it and the church won't.
Yeah, the church won't speak on excommunication.
Oh, wow. Okay. Gotcha. Hold on one second. I'm dropping some links. Um, yeah, I don't know. I wonder if I can pull up Julie's vision and play it. Let me see what I can do here. Be patient with me for a minute, guys. Um, I don't know. Oh, I see. Okay. I'm going to do it, but it's going to take me a second. I really don't even want to give her visions any views, but to understand the case, you have to watch some crazy stuff. I know Amy's been following it. It's hard to wrap your head around all of this. So, Tylee's 17, JJ's 7. He needs medication. And I was thinking about this earlier. The medications that he's prescribed, that we know he's prescribed, are medications that are monitored and controlled. And they take your social security number to give you those medications. Those aren't things that you can really add into your prep stock. So I don't believe Lori could have had an extra supply of those medications. And with the FBI being on the case, the FBI would know if those medicines have been filled over the last 3 months.
I believe it was JJ's grandparents that said that they've checked and they haven't been filled since they went missing.
That's scary.
I believe it was his grandfather that said that they had checked into it and they have not been filled.
That's scary.
Because their last FaceTime call with JJ was August 10th.
Wow.
And they lost contact with them when they made their move August 31st.
Wow. Yeah, so that scares me.
Mm-hmm.
Those are medicines that he needed, and they're not really medicines that you can just come off of.
Right.
You have to be weaned off of them. And I think we know he had autism.
And ADHD, I believe.
Yeah, I want to say the autism was type 2?
Yes, level 2.
Level 2, okay. Level 2 autism and ADHD. And he was on clonidine, and what was the other one?
With an R.
Risperidone.
Yes.
So the medications haven't been filled. He needs them. That's a terrible sign. The FBI says that these kids are endangered. Where would they be?
Well, you got to think, even if he were at a family friend's house, how difficult that would be to take care of a kid with a disability like that, who's in
Right.
an environment that he's not used to.
Right.
And one that you're not used to caring for.
So I think that's why it seems that it would be unlikely that he's staying with someone.
Yeah. I personally don't think that she cared about the kid at all after reading the divorce documents.
Yeah, I mean, they spelled it out for you.
Yeah.
You know, that's what they said.
Charles talked about having to like beg her to get JJ's iPad back that had applications on it that he needed to use daily for, developmental disorders. I mean, she took the service dog's collar. What kind of
That's great.
mother takes the collar off the service dog for your child who's autistic? It's sick.
JJ's grandmother
The
did
same
say
one that would
that.
cancel a flight, a return flight. I mean, that
Yeah.
all those are very consistent with that something's not right. And she turned. I mean, and part of Charles's request was that she attend counseling because I mean that it was seen then that I mean she had some kind of deficiency, and she avoided all of those appointments, and then he still dropped the protection order. So I'm not sure what happened there, but
Oh, Sienna, she's another one of our admins, said that Julie Rowe's son just got his assignment at a Mormon missionary. So I don't know. If you guys Google Julie Rowe, there's a Wikipedia page about her. It's interesting. But somebody else up here said, I can't scroll up, but somebody said they wanted to hear the podcast. And I have searched and searched and searched for them, and they are gone. Because, our podcasts were wiped, but we didn't remove them. So maybe it's different when they get wiped away or when you remove them yourselves. Ours are stored at different locations, but all the podcasts are completely gone. Melanie said, I think she kept the kid long enough because she thought she was going to get life insurance money. That's another topic. I think she did get some life insurance money, didn't she?
Not from Charles.
Not from
she got
Charles.
Charles had a $2
yeah.
million policy that he removed her from a couple of weeks before he was murdered. And she was not happy.
Yeah.
And JJ's grandma also said that the service dog had been returned to its trainer.
Oh, man.
Trainers in Phoenix.
Oh, that's awful.
But she didn't know the details of when or how they returned it. If it was before the move or if it was after he went missing, they don't have those details yet, or they didn't.
Right. Yeah. The Glarus said, is there anything that could look good in their favor about this case? No.
I haven't seen it yet.
Unless you ask Christopher Parrott, who is the leader and the follower, or the leader and founder of Avow. I don't know how to say it. The cult. He paints a great picture, let me tell you. A wonderful picture. We're all crazy and
It's a media frenzy.
it's a media frenzy. The truth will come out. And then he tried to solicit some members to his following. So, yeah,
But he wasn't here to fix the truth or
I think
help
the
the
only person
truth.
it could come out looking positive for would maybe be Chad. Maybe if there were nothing involved with Tammy's death and he didn't know about the kids, that's the only scenario I see. I don't see how
Right.
Lori could get out of it unscathed.
Right. I don't know. It's just my opinion and I could be completely wrong, but I do believe they were having an affair before his wife died, before Charles died, because from my understanding, she became obsessed with Chad over his books. And it's no coincidence, as soon as his wife dies, he marries Lori. So Lori could have been lying to him the whole time, saying, hey, I don't have kids, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. The only reason I answered that was for that question. I too, I don't see it. I don't see it looking like anyone so far is innocent.
Yeah, it's not good. I don't know. It's very I don't know. I think there is there anything stronger than the FBI, you guys? The CIA, can they bring them in? I don't think they handle cases like this, but I think that there needs to be some strong forces on this because there's so many surrounding factors. And with the two organizations that these two main characters, Lori and Chad, are involved in, and what those organizations do, and the way that they go about things leads me to believe that there is an endless possibility of where these two kids could be. And that's scary. That's scary.
Yeah, they seem to have a tight network around them that's
Very
prepared
tight.
to, yeah,
Very
that's
tight.
prepared to say and do whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So I don't know. We have a lot of information in the group, like an overwhelming amount of information in the group. And it's hard to make sense of all of it. It really is.
It's, it's really difficult to explain it to somebody who has not been following. That's for
Yes.
sure.
Yes. Definitely hard to explain. I mean, just the family tree alone. What Christina sent it to me earlier, and I'm like, this person, she had them labeled deceased, deceased, deceased. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot to take in when you look at it. Um, oh, Melanie thinks that they hooked up when they were doing the podcast. That's possible. That's possible.
Yeah, I think they definitely had some history of a relationship for sure. I don't think you don't just up and marry like that
Yeah,
so
definitely.
soon after, right?
Definitely.
Sienna just found out that the Cox family actually had 6 children.
Couple of comments up.
Laura,
Joe asked about a tent. What kind of tents they were staying in. I wonder what kind of tent would it take for you to join their cause to stay in.
Um, yeah, I wouldn't be sleeping in a tent. They're they're serious about that. Dead serious about their.
You'd think they would have buildings by now, you know?
You'd think. What were you gonna say, Christina?
Sienna just found out that the Cox family actually had 6 children.
Oh,
Laura died as an infant. Stacy died at age 31. Alex died in December. Adam, Summer, and Lori are the only surviving children now.
wow, wow. Amy had said earlier, she's down in our chat, that this case is so intriguing, and when you look at these people, they're very attractive, good-looking people, and that almost makes it even more intriguing because it's just not what you expect. Like, people have talked about how Lori was such a good mom, and she's a very pretty woman, and I guess you just never know what's going on in people's heads. They're crazy.
Sources have told us that the Cox parents um, were very big on looks.
Really?
Yes, and so was Lori, and she judged Tylee very harshly on her weight
Aw.
and treated her very badly about it. That she was like a cheerleader mom. It was all about appearances and what other people thought.
Wow. That's sad. That's sad.
But that Lori's parents were very, very big on appearances and looks, and they judged people by their looks. And so did Lori.
Oh, why?
I can't speak on the other siblings because they didn't speak about them, but
I mean, how I have a really hard time with that because how can you be a Christian and at the same time be superficial like that?
right, and judgmental.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's what you said, Amy. You said in a warped way it gives the case sex appeal. It does. I mean, you got how many husbands did Lori have? 5? Chad's her 5th, right?
Yeah, the fifth that we know of.
Right. It's I don't know, it all makes me sick. It really makes me sick. Randy and Christina, you guys can hear each other, right?
I
I can hear.
cannot hear Christina.
You can't?
I can.
Uh-uh.
That's weird.
Can she hear me?
Yeah, I can hear it.
You can hear him, but he can't
Uh-huh.
hear you. That's weird.
I'm probably talking over her the whole time.
Yeah, well, we do see that kind of hypocrisy in religion all the time. You're right. There's a lot of hypocrisy. Trying to read some of your guys' comments. Morgan said she thinks narcissistic personality disorders run rampant in the Cox family and in cult leaders. I don't know enough about the Cox family to say that, but I would have to agree when it comes to cults, there's definitely some personality disorders there.
They're very condescending.
Yes, yes. Can you guys hear Randy? Will said he can hear Christina. Joe, I don't know. I don't know if the church would be hiding them. Wouldn't that just be absolutely horrible for the
I don't
LDS
think
church to be hiding 2 children from the FBI?
Yeah, I think it's important to note that what they're doing with Avo and the preparing of people, I don't think that's in line with the church at all. I don't think I think they're definitely straying as far from what they're preaching. I think they're straying away from what the church is teaching.
I think they're going completely against what the church stands for and believes in. And I think if anybody's helping, it would be the preparing of people or AVAL.
Right.
But I
Amy,
really look towards AVAL, but that's just my personal opinion.
that's my opinion too. Amy said, didn't they do that in Warren Jeffs? I don't think the LDS church helped Warren Jeffs. They want nothing to do with him. He's FLDS. As far as I know, the LDS church just absolutely tries to distance themselves from Warren Jeffs. Unless I'm misunderstanding your question.
Like Amy says, I don't think they're not part of the LDS church. I mean, they may be practicing members inside, but outside what they're doing is not in line.
Elizabeth Smart was kidnapped by offshoot LDS sect. Yeah, those people were nuts. And I think Amy actually mentioned upthread that sometimes private investigators can do a better job, and you're right. What was that case in Oklahoma where the 2 girls, it just was solved like within the last year and a half, I want to say. The 2 girls were having a sleepover at the one girl's house. The parents were into drugs and the girls were kidnapped, house was set on fire, and a private investigator, it happened in Oklahoma. A private investigator knew within days who had taken the girls and where they were at, but the cops wouldn't listen to the private investigator, and then the girls ended up dead. But they were alive when the private investigator, I'm gonna have to look it up now because it was a huge, huge case that was unsolved for years. Um, One second, guys. Oh, Ashley Freeman and Laura Bible. That was the case.
I haven't heard of that one.
It's a sorry to cough in your guys' ears. It's an interesting case. Very sad, very sad. There was Polaroid photos of the girls taken when they were still alive. And again, a private investigator came in and had basically solved the case, and the cops wouldn't listen. And the girls ended up murdered. And then it went unsolved for 18 years. It was just solved last April.
Oh, wow.
Or April 2018. So a little year and a half ago. Okay, so let's talk about Ava. The Dark Pirate. If you look on the Vow site, they have a classified section, and under miscellaneous, there are houses and land for sale. For these people who. Oh, there's a couple advertised recently in Utah. One with barbed wire around it. Huh. Seems legit. It's crazy. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. I don't know. I hope they find him soon. I hope there's answers. I think a family member told me they expect the autopsy of Tammy to be back, like within the next week. But again, I could be wrong about that.
I know
I
some
think
of
we
the
should be getting pretty close to having at least some remote details about, especially as much digging as they've done and as public as they've been with some of their information. It's kind of unusual.
Right? Yeah. It's hold on. It's crazy. I don't know. I'm in fear for those kids. I'm really, really in fear for Tylee and JJ. And it doesn't all of these surrounding factors make it very, very hard for people to even, like you said, Randy, to focus on the kids who are missing, because people are like, oh my gosh, a cult. Oh my gosh, this is her fifth husband. Oh my gosh, she's got 2 dead husbands. Oh my God, his wife's dead. Her brother's dead. It's crazy. You can't even
Yeah.
wrap your head around it. Joe said, I'm not in it and I only know bits and pieces. We as amends have talked about it. It's seriously crazy. It's nuts. It's nuts. I don't even know how to make sense of it. Yes, that's what I was thinking, Morgan. Someone saying in the group, it was family that said Tammy's autopsy should be due back between January 6th and 8th, so this week. I wondered, do we know if the cops plan on resuming their search out at Chad's house, or are they
They
done?
did. They did today. They went back today, but I think they were gone sometime mid-afternoon, is
Yeah,
what was said inside the group anyway. So I don't know. I guess we'll wait and see. But the autopsy report, I would imagine they'd be back out there unless that's what this was over. Unless they got the report back already.
right. Right. Hold on one second, guys. Sorry. So, Will said that's why it almost seems like it's the perfect crime. And then there's the whole Hawaii aspect.
Oh, yeah.
Because not only did they live in Arizona and Lori packed up and moved up to Idaho, right? But before Charles was murdered, I should say killed because I don't believe his death has been ruled as a murder yet. Um, Lori and Charles bounce back and forth between Arizona and Hawaii, so they have ties to Hawaii as well. It's like these people are everywhere. They're everywhere. They
Hawaii's supposed to be where Chad and Lori got married.
Chad and Lori. So wait, his wife dies. He buries her.
He goes to Hawaii for 3 weeks and comes back married to Lori.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Said that he needed to grieve, so he took off to Hawaii.
Wow. And his grief included a marriage?
Apparently.
I can't.
That was one of Tammy's really good friends that posted that.
Wow.
So I guess apparently they were bragging about getting married when they got back for people to know.
Right. Wow.
She also said that Chad had just a couple of days after the funeral service for Tammy pack up all her belongings.
She just packed up and took off?
That Chad had the kids pack up Tammy's belongings out of the
Oh,
house.
okay. Yeah, I misunderstood you. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. So there has been speculation. This is not fact. This is just speculation at this point because we have a lot of fact and we have a lot of speculation. Some of the speculation is that maybe Lori is the one who actually killed Tammy. I've seen
Yeah.
several people suggest that. Several.
She certainly
So
had a lot of practice, and often her ex-spouses.
she did. She absolutely did. And she's the one who had 3 dead people behind her before Chad had a dead wife. So you have to wonder. Sorry if you guys hear background noise. I have kids and dogs and chaos. Um, don't know what that was that just flew off my wall back there. But anyways, yeah, it some have suggested that maybe Chad is also a victim of Lori's. I don't know. I'm going to find the attorney's statement here and read it.
The only problem I have with Chad being a victim is he told LE with Lori that JJ was in Arizona with a family friend
Yep, he lied.
and told other people she had no minor children.
Right.
So that doesn't add up to me.
Let me find. Let's see if this is a statement. Okay, so this article is from December 26th, but all these facts in this article remain to this day. It says the whereabouts of 2 missing, endangered Rexburg children remain unknown. Nearly a week after local law enforcement announced officers from multiple agencies are looking for them, the children's mother and stepfather, who are persons of interest in the case, have not produced the children to law enforcement, but they have hired a lawyer to represent them. Chad Daybell was a loving husband and has the support of his children in this matter. Lori Vallow Daybell is a devoted mother and resents assertions to the contrary. We look forward to addressing the allegations once they have moved beyond speculation and rumor. Attorney Sean Bartholic said in a statement released on Monday, the Daybell's whereabouts are unknown. They are persons of interest in the case involving Lori's missing children, Joshua J.J. Vallow, 7, a special needs child, and 17-year-old Tylee Ryan. The children haven't been seen since September. Oh boy. It says Rexburg Assistant Chief of Police Gary Hagan said that Madison County Prosecutor's Office and investigators are working on discussions with Bartholic. No charges are pending, Hagan said. When asked if the police can question the attorney on the children's or his client's whereabouts, Hagan said they are working with their prosecutor to determine what can be done right now. Hagan said rumors have circulated about the parents' possible involvement with the cult. Again, this article was published on the 26th. I think now we can pretty much say that those are not rumors. That's pretty much truth. So yeah, the attorney was very evasive and said, nothing really. I feel like as an attorney, if your clients did nothing wrong and the children are okay, you'd say, hey, look, here's the kids. He doesn't have to show their pictures to the public. He could show them to the cops. That's all it takes. But they're not doing that.
I find
no
it
mention of the kids being safe.
No mention. And they are listed. The FBI has said they are endangered. So
Yeah.
that's scary.
And I think when law enforcement show up at your house with metal detectors and a search warrant, I think it's moved beyond speculation at that point.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And they still, from my understanding, from reading that, the cops don't even know where Lori and Chad are. It looks like they reached out to an attorney, hired an attorney, and the attorney speaking for them. And the attorney doesn't have to tell the cops where they're at, does he?
If I would think that he would have to if he knew that they were in the act of committing a crime. So if he knew that the kids were harmed and shielded that information, I think he's obligated at that point.
What if he knows that the kids are dead?
Yeah, I mean,
And those are his clients, because as a defense attorney, you don't, right? A defense attorney cannot tell what their clients have told them. That goes against attorney-client privilege.
That's true, but I don't think he can reserve, or I don't think he can hold back that he knows his clients have committed a serious crime. I may be wrong. I could be wrong, but that just doesn't seem like that would be information he could withhold.
Will said he could get disbarred. What could he get disbarred for? For not telling or for telling? He can't hold back imminent danger, but can he hold back death? If he knows that these kids are no longer alive, can he hold that back? How many people, look at it this way, how many people get arrested for murder without a body and they get a lawyer? If that lawyer knows where the body is, he doesn't have to tell the prosecution. Right?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like if he knows where the body is, I feel like he's obligated at that point.
I don't think
But
I truly
if he
don't
just
think he is because of attorney-client privilege.
maybe I'm not saying that you're wrong. He very well may be right. I think that if he knew that the kids were dead, not that his clients killed the kids, then he could withhold that. But if he knows that his clients killed the kids, I feel like that's something that he should be obligated to share.
Will said he can't lie and say they're alive, though. And if they are alive, he would say so. He hasn't said that, has he?
He
Yeah,
hasn't
I think that's
anything
more
yet.
interesting than anything. It's what he didn't say more
Right,
so than what he said, you know?
right.
But again, like I said, Daniel, you very well may be right.
I'm
You
just
may be right.
thinking
It
from
just does not that feels unethical, if anything, to me.
oh, it's definitely unethical. I don't disagree with you whatsoever, but I think when it comes to attorney client privilege, when you hire an attorney and you tell them things, they cannot tell those things that can be used against you in a court of law. They can't because
That's accurate.
you
Yeah.
confide it into your attorney. You paid that attorney, and anything it's like going and talking to a shrink. You go see a shrink, that shrink can't disclose what you say. It's the same thing with an attorney. After your case is prosecuted, your attorney can talk if they choose to. Not many do, but I'm almost positive that they can't implicate their clients. And unfortunately, like you and I would never be able to be a defense attorney. Never. Because I would not be able to handle stuff like this, you know. I would not be able to defend somebody who's hiding children. But there's a lot of defense attorneys out there who defend some really bad people, and that's their job, unfortunately. um,
That the attorney only says that Lori resents the accusations and rumors.
Lori only resents him. Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't say that Chad, he just says that Chad's, family supports him and he's a loving father, but that Lori, all he says about her, not that she's a loving mother, but that she resents the accusations and doesn't want to talk until it's moved past rumor and speculation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do.
Absolutely. What's also telling is that it's almost like she's saying, "Oh, we're not going to show you the kids until you stop talking about us.
Right.
Until we move past rumor and speculation." Nothing that has been said about her isn't untrue.
It's just going to get worse
It is
until
going to get
she
worse.
tells where the children are.
Yeah, it is going to get worse because her dead husband Charles, his death is still being investigated. Tammy's death is now being investigated.
Alex's death is being investigated.
Right, Alex's death is being investigated. It's crazy. It's crazy. Amy said she doesn't think the attorney has to say anything. In fact, I'm positive. I agree with you. You have attorney-client privilege. They do not have to say anything. And you're right. A shrink is a mandatory reporter for murder. I was just trying to find the best example I could come up with, and I know if when you go into a shrink's office, the things that you talk about in there, they're confidential, unless it's murder, of course. But a lawyer's different. Anything you tell your lawyer is kept between you and your lawyer. So it's crazy. It's crazy. Um, Hold on one second, guys. So we have this group going, and we had Christopher Parrott in there, and that was interesting, to say the least.
It was something.
Yeah, let me see if Sienna has the one thing that he said that was just, oh, it was like he was recruiting our group members. It was crazy.
We
And
cited the increase in group numbers since this story started.
right, right.
How many members he had gained.
Yeah, he did. Yes, it was something about he had seen his member.
Well, he initially like quoted 13,000 members or something, and then came back with like a passive aggressive tone of, "I'm sorry, it was actually 18 or whatever the number was." So he was off by like 5,000, insinuating that there. And then there was a page view
Right.
uh, on Avell's site about Chad Daybell that was like 500 and something views since the 23rd or whatever it was.
Well, I'll read the message he sent us. Again, Christopher Parrott is the leader, founder of A Voice of Warning. This is the message that he sent. He said, as I am sure you are all too well aware, increasingly AVOW seems to be getting drugged deeper and deeper into the Chad Daybell saga, which is perfectly fine by me. It doesn't bother me at all. But what does bother me is the total lack of understanding your members have for what AVOW actually is and does. So I would like to ask your permission to post a few threads in an attempt to educate your members on what my organization is all about, and gently rebuff some of the silly things I have seen posted in the last 3 to 4 days. And I said, absolutely not. Use your own platform to solicit people. The group is for Tylee and JJ being found. If you don't want your organization to be drug in the middle of it, you wouldn't continue to support Chad Daybell and or Lori Vallow. You're welcome to be part of the group, but keep your organizational agenda out of the group. Our group isn't full of sheep for you to manipulatively herd. And he didn't like that. He said, once again, you really have no interest in the truth if it doesn't fit your own preconceived notion, but that's fine. That's why I asked for permission before posting any actual explanation of the reality of the situation. There's not a snowball's chance in hell of me soliciting members from the massacre site. That you would even suggest such is ridiculous. Just consider your highly biased audience. And I replied, and then he just he got himself in trouble in the group. This is what he said in the group. He said, I laugh because so much of what's being said is just not true. There is conjecture piled on top of false assumptions, rolled inside of innuendo, sprinkled with preconceived outcomes. So many in this forum are here because they decided he was guilty and are now set about trying to prove his guilt without any real access to any of the actual information or motives to what is happening. For AVOW, this is an exercise on trial by media in perils of mobocracy at its very worst. That is the leader and founder of AVOW talking. So he's interesting, to say the least.
But you could pretty much guarantee that's exactly what the same narrative he's pushing on his site. So all those people are going to fall in line with that same assumption.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. I gotta read some comments. It's very, very, very interesting. Oh, Morgan, I gave her a wrench on YouTube so that she could help us in the comments if we needed it. She's not a mod for I don't know, you might be a moderator in that group. I don't know. I think you are. Anyways, so the AVOW, how do you guys say it? Avow? AVOW?
I say AOW.
AVOW? Okay. Um, we were told that they were cleaning up their threads by Christopher. So, or not by Christopher, about Chad. About Chad. Their threads about Chad. But you can't even get into their forums without paying. They're all blocked by paywalls, and it's other doomsday prepper stuff and visions and their dreams that they have that they interpret into reality, and it's crazy. It's crazy, crazy. So, I don't know, maybe we will go live again about this. Oh, hold on. I think Will's going to join us. Will, I'm going to drop it in Messenger to you. Is that cool? I got to get it real quick. Yes, Amy. They like to overtalk a lot of words that make zero sense. Yeah, I felt like that dude was talking me in circles. And he did that throughout the group. Throughout the group. Anytime we tried to get an answer, though, he just dodged the question pretty much. He's no longer in there either.
Or he started a whole new conversation.
Or he started a whole new conversation. There was a lot of deflection. A lot of defending Chad. Intent of commuting or converting up a crime. Committing. Yeah. Yep. So I don't know. Hopefully the evidence they got. I'm waiting for Will the Giant. Oh, you're going to make me drop it here? Okay. Hold on. Let me copy and paste it. You think I'd be like tech savvy. Like I got my phone out. I got computer out. Hasselhoff. When did how do you say that name? Zulima come into the picture?
All I know is her and Alex married November 29th in Clark County in Nevada.
So right before he died. Right before he died, he got married.
And the next day is when Melanie got married in Clark County.
And Melanie is Brandon's ex-wife, right?
Yes, Lori's niece. She demanded her divorce suddenly from Brandon the end of June, just or Charles was killed.
It's crazy. Will's here with us, guys. The Glarer.
What's
Say
up?
hi. Hey. Hey. So what are you thinking about this, Will? I know you haven't really followed this case, have you?
No, not really, but it's fucking bizarre, man. Sorry about my language. I know
No, you're
you guys
good.
don't really
You're
cuss
good.
here.
You're okay.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's messed up because I keep laughing and I never ever do that when there's missing kids involved, which makes me think that that's what makes this the perfect crime. I mean, there's so much craziness involved, and the way that you guys are describing it makes it seem like these people are just very, very aloof, like beyond like a whole "hey, prove it" attitude. It's beyond that. It's more like, so okay, so our kids are missing, and what are you looking at? I don't understand what you're looking at. What's the problem?
Right.
You know, like it's all good, like it's okay. It's really weird, and everything about them is weird. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder why there's not more buzz about this case.
This case has been slowly growing momentum. Wouldn't you guys say? I mean, like we started this group and I think it's been open like a week, but
It's starting to really pick up. It's
Ace.
starting to really pick up now.
yeah, I mean, we're approaching like 2,500 people in the group and that's just in the last couple days that it's turned into thousands.
I think if this hadn't have happened in Rexburg, Idaho, you would definitely hear about it more.
Yeah, I think that might have to do with it because Rexburg, Idaho is very I didn't know
It's
it
like
existed.
That's my fault. Sorry.
You're good. You're good. I mean, I didn't really know what was on the map until this case. It's like one of those towns. I don't think it's a big town.
oh no, yeah, it's like what 3,000 a population of 3 to 4,000, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that makes it even more bizarre. Because I mean, first of all, I understand. Again, I know very little. You guys seem to know a lot of details about this case, but everything that I'm hearing so far just makes it sound more and more. And you know, like this married couple, they seem like they're not they're not the type to want to get their hands dirty, and they seem to have a lot of people behind them as far as looking to them for mentorship and guidance.
Right.
So I I don't think it's far fetched to think that they did not commit this crime themselves. Because I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I never do this. I don't think those kids are alive. I mean, I'm as hopeful as anybody else is, but there's just too much. I mean, to me, it would be a miracle. I would be like, thank God. But I based on everything that's going on now, I don't think that. I think the focus should definitely be on getting some sort of confession or finding evidence of a murder,
Right.
because they're and that's probably what they're doing. Because I don't think that anybody here thinks that these children are still alive, whether they want to say it or not. But we're all pretty intelligent people here, and people just they seem like the type of couple that just when they don't like somebody or somebody is inconvenient to them, they croak, they kick the bucket mysteriously.
And it seems to be people who are interfering with their delusional beliefs of what's going to happen because
Right.
they're taking out people who they think are going to interfere with their end of the world preparing whatever the hell they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. It really
Well, I
confuses
mean,
me.
like the when the divorce stuff, the paperwork that came out today between Charles and Lori, you know, she believed that she was married to a Mormon prophet, and it seems like that's what she's made Chad out to be for her. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like she's envisioned that, and then it's just about cutting,
Yeah,
for
he's
lack of a better
already.
term,
Yeah, he seems to
all the
already
all
be
the
messiah status with these people.
with these people, and then she's cut all baggage from her life as far as kids' parents, kids to have a relationship with him. You know,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, because I'm getting a vibe that he's the prophet. She's the enforcer, more or less. And the followers are the muscle. And that's I mean, why wouldn't this run like any other organized crime? Ring or of some sort. I don't, you know what I mean? Why, if they're trying to get away with something, and they have an agenda, and the agenda is, I don't know how much money is being made here. It doesn't. I can't figure it out. But again, I don't know a lot about it, but it definitely seems to me like, if this is the kind of thing that it appears to be, I seriously doubt that either one of these people would actually do anything with their hands themselves.
Sure. Yeah,
So,
I think
it's
you're right.
right. So it's going to be really difficult to prove anything.
Which is also why I don't believe that I don't think they're hiding out in a bunker or tent somewhere. I mean, I don't think these are not the type of people that, like you said, to get their hands dirty or to have the ability to rough it, in my opinion. I could be wrong.
Right. I'm not getting.
But
I'm getting a Waco vibe from law enforcement, but I'm not getting a
yeah,
Waco
or
vibe from them. They're way
yeah.
more organized. They're way more sophisticated. They probably have better funding
Oh, sure.
for
Yeah.
their operations. So it makes
Well, most
sense
of
to
the
me. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're right. Go ahead. Go
Um,
ahead.
it makes sense to me that that they're very good at covering their tracks, and they're smart about having representation, having an attorney. And when you have an attorney, a decent attorney, that attorney is going to tell you, just keep your mouth shut and don't say a word. And if
Mhm.
somebody asks you this is what you say. And everything that you're describing that they're saying sounds like what guilty people say when they lawyer up.
Right.
So it's what it sounds like to me from an outside perspective. And it's
I agree with you 100%.
this is a scary thing.
It's very scary. And
And
I am a firm believer that if you have nothing to hide and those kids are okay, you don't need a lawyer to talk for you and talk in circles and not say things like the kids are okay. Or they literally, all they have to do is show the cops, the
They
FBI, that the kids are okay, and they haven't done it. So that speaks volumes.
I mean, right. Any shred of proof of life would
A
be
FaceTime video.
fine.
Right. Right.
So that's what I'm saying. There's nothing about this that's indicating to me that these children are okay. Because the first thing you would do when you're being accused of something like this, if you have not done anything wrong, is you are going to produce these children in some form or another, except for, deceased, of course. But
Right.
yeah, most definitely, if somebody accuses a parent of killing their children, they're going to be, the first thing they're going to do is go, no, look, my kid's fine, look, leave me alone. But
Right.
they're not doing that
Lori had
at
made a
all.
comment that, she would take out basically anybody that got in her way of fulfilling her mission. And, it makes you wonder because it was
it appears.
stated that the kids were present when their father was shot. When her husband that died and was shot in July, the children were present.
So right. So
And she had them go to the car and she drove them to school before she called 911. Is that
there's
correct?
right. So there's motive right there.
Right.
I mean, that's motive right there. They could talk. They're witnesses to a murder.
Right. Right.
Well, everyone that was witness to that murder is dead, except Lori. If
See, this is so crazy. I keep catching myself laughing at this, and I've never in my life laughed at a case where children were missing. I've never done that in my life, and that
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
blowing my mind right now.
Well, and for people who listen to the replay, we are in no way laughing at the children missing. We're all very concerned and disturbed by this. We're laughing at the fucking delusional
I'm
stuff.
laughing at it like I'm watching a Twilight Zone episode.
Yes, it's you can't believe it. Literally, when you scroll through, when I check my messages, because we have a group message on this case, when I check the messages on this, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, it's like, wake me up. Am I dreaming? Is this real? It's unbelievable stuff.
Right. And the cherry on top of that is what I was talking about earlier, is that they just seem like, yeah, whatever. You know, it's really weird. Their whole vibe seems to just be, the kids are fine. Go away. Leave us alone. Or
Right.
produce proof.
Right.
Nah, we're not going to do that. And not even like, no, why should we? Blah, blah, blah. Just, nah, nope. They don't seem even remotely defensive. That's so crazy to me.
I just get so many bad vibes. I think this is what I think. I think of Waco. I think of what was her name? Andrea Yates in Texas, who murdered her 5 children and she was following a cult. I just feel like this never ends well, and it's scary to me. It's scary to me.
well, now you also don't want to see a Ruby Ridge type situation from law enforcement.
Right.
If you guys remember
that's what I was saying.
You don't want to see. That's why I think you're seeing law enforcement hang back a little bit here.
Exactly.
They're accumulating evidence. Yeah.
They're very, very scared of how they're going to look to the public after. I mean,
Sure.
They're still making documentaries about Waco. They're still making documentaries about Ruby Ridge. And all of those documentaries right now are making the police and law enforcement look very bad in how they handle those situations.
Sure. And I'm sure the Rexburg Police Department is probably understaffed, underfunded, and so they don't have a ton of resources, and so that handicaps them in a way also. So that's why this is probably moving a lot slower. You got 2 months, 3 months since the kids were last seen before you get to this point,
Right.
Amy, you can't. I told you about using words that I don't know what they mean. Dude, what the hell is litigious?
I love Amy.
Dude, I have an 8th grade education. Okay, Amy, I need you to work with me here.
It means like litigation.
Litigious is litigious a
litigious.
No, I don't think that those words are connected.
Okay, so Jerica, Avow.
Maybe they are, now that I'm thinking about it.
Avow has a lot of properties, classified type page. You can look them up. Usually underground, finished, furnished, hidden, etc. Yeah, that's what.
I mean, I like to think that I'm litigious.
Do we? I'm gonna Google it.
The hell are you trying to say? I'm not litigious? Get out of my face.
Hold on, Will. I'll get us a definition because I don't know what it means either.
Yo, I'm litigious AF, homie. Right now.
Unreasonably prone to go to law to settle disputes.
All right, I'm not litigious at all. Not even a little bit.
Oh boy.
I take all that back.
I personally, people in the comments, I think the FBI is involved because it involves minor children. A lot of the times, most of the time, when children are missing and they're under a certain age, under the age of 12, and JJ is 7 and special needs, the FBI comes in. It happens quite often, actually.
That's their specialty.
Yes, yes. Jerica also said she believes there are actually a lot more people who are helping, following, etc., Loria and Chad, that any of us could ever imagine, which creeps me out. There is probably a much larger network. I agree 100%. And it is 100% creepy. It is. Oh, you're saying specifically the Salt Lake City office FBI is involved. I don't know. Is that the closest like big FBI unit to Rexburg by chance? I don't know. I'm not really familiar, to be honest with you guys, on how it works when it comes to the FBI.
Amy, I think that you have a delay on your feed. She'll hear this in about 30 seconds.
She just gave us the definition and it means they like to drop
Right. Yeah, we already dropped the subject. I already got over feeling stupid about it.
Okay, so Salt Lake City is closer to Rexburg than Boise, so that might be why they're using the Salt Lake City FBI unit. So yeah, this case is crazy. You guys made a great point that
crazy doesn't even begin to describe this. This is totally crazy.
I don't think there's a word that does describe it. I mean, unless you want me to drop some F-bombs and some really bad insults, because I'm mind blown by it. It seems like every time, because we were following the LeBaron case, the Lamora massacre, and we thought that was crazy. And then this case came along, and it's even crazier. Oh.
Okay, the word is litigious.
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 Thanks, Amy.
Yeah. Thanks, Amy.
So, is anybody down in the chat? Are you guys familiar with AVOW at all?
What is AVOW? Refresh my memory.
A voice of warning.
Oh, so that's the organization that is the preppers for Doomsday. The Doomsday.
Yeah, cult. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's serious business. It's serious. It's like it's up there with Jim Jones, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see. Yeah, it's like I was saying in the chat. I mean, how arbitrary is it to prepare for the inevitable?
Right.
It doesn't make sense to me. So it stands to reason that an organization that revolves around this logic is going to be an irrational group of people.
Right.
Right. So I don't think good things are to be expected of this group of people at all. And I think it already shows that terrible things have already occurred within this group of people and around the top. So,
Jerica, I don't think it's an LDS organization. Do you know that, Christina? I thought that the LDS did not affiliate themselves with AVOW. From my understanding.
Up. What did she say?
One of our commenters down in the chat said that AVOW is an LDS organization. I was under the impression that the LDS was not affiliating themselves with AVOW.
No, they're not affiliated with them.
I didn't think so. It seemed, the Mormon church basically said they wanted no affiliation with that.
I mean,
Morgan,
Parrot
you're
claims they
right.
are, but they're not.
Yeah, Morgan's saying cults are irrational. It's a good thing if anything to do with this cult seems crazy to you. Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I'm trying to say is, yeah, most cults are irrational, but look at the point behind this cult. You know, I
Right.
mean, there's no, it's the strangest thing. There's no preparation other than spiritual preparation
Right.
that could logically take place uh, for doomsday. So if there's a group of people, a large organized group of people whose entire belief system revolves around preparing for doomsday, uh, you're looking at it's fair to say that it's fair to fear that you're looking at a Jim Jones type situation.
Yeah, I think this group preys on the fact that that being prepared and preparation is so key to the Mormon faith. I think they're preying on that financially while
Right.
and exploiting it. You know what I mean? So I don't think the people at the top. I mean, they probably are as crazy as you would expect, but I think that they're exploiting that fact more than anything.
Right. And right. I think so too. I think the initial and overall motive behind this is financial gain for sure, just like any other religious organization or fanatically religious organization. It's usually financial gain, but also with fanatically religious organizations, it's it's not uncommon that there's a very irrational and scary end game.
Oh no, yeah, no
So
doubt.
just like the Jim Jones thing, the Jonestown massacre. So their behavior seems to reflect this. That just their behavior towards everything currently seems to reflect this whole attitude of you cannot stop us from what we're doing. You cannot deter us from our way of thinking and where we're going with this. This is
Right.
going to happen. It's a prophecy that will be fulfilled, period, whether you like it or not. And it would make sense that they would create a situation that would justify this amongst themselves. And
Sure.
and that's a very scary thought.
Oh, you're seeing some of those on the fringe that are using this, like you're saying, as a reason to incite more fear into their base.
Sure, yeah, and yes, you always. I mean, that's how it is with regular religion too. The fear of going to hell is always the thing, So they're always going to ensue fear in order to control and in order to, in a way, extort. Um, so if you want to be right with God and you want your spirit to be right, well, you're going to have to pay your tithes, and you're going to have to support us financially because it costs money for us to organize and do what we need to do. And that kind of logic, people are like, take my checkbook here. Just because they're desperate for something to believe in, because they prey on people who are desperate for something to believe in, people who have lost faith in anything else. And when you tell people, hey, the end is coming and this is the date when it's coming, and you start to make sense to them as to a reason to believe that, then they're going to be supportive.
Yeah.
And they're going to go to great lengths to support anything to support that idea, if that makes sense.
And this situation, I think, is being used to support that idea. Look what they're doing to Chad. Look what they're doing to Lori. That sort of thing. I think that they're using this as an opportunity to incite more fear.
Oh, they're absolutely. Avo is absolutely making it out to be that Chad and Lori are the victims.
Specifically, Avo. Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
Right. What this does, I mean, it's a classic manipulation tactic with the cults. So right here, what you've got is this situation where we would all in the outside world, or even if we're in that cult, we would go, well, wait a minute, something's wrong here. People keep dying, and what's going on? And why are the police coming around, sniffing around, and asking all these questions? What's going on here? Well, it would make sense that they would use this as an example of why to fear.
Yeah.
Well, we warned you that this would happen. Remember, we told you the outside world wasn't going to understand this. We told you that people are going to come around and they're going to try to the devil's people, the devil's work is going to interfere with our cause. And even though they look like friends, they're wolf in sheep's clothing. You've got to watch out for that. So we have to stay on the path towards righteousness. And if we don't stay on this path towards righteousness, then our souls are lost. But what's more important to you, your eternal soul or your body here in this temporary plane? That's the kind of shit they use to manipulate and brainwash that kind of logic. And how do you argue with that logic when you actually can? When you actually can extort someone's faith into you, blind faith, you're indestructible. You that's it. They'll do anything for you. They'll do anything because it's blind faith. No matter what, even if they seem like they're not making sense, that's the devil telling me that they don't make sense. So I'm just going to keep the faith and do whatever Chad tells me to do. I mean, that's
Well, when you get time, you have to read. You have to read their visions and their dreams. And
I wouldn't be surprised if drug use was something that is
That, yeah, I agree. I think that because it seems like
we see that a
within the
lot.
last 7 months, you've seen these two people, Lori and Chad, switch opposite of what everyone that knew them before said they were. So, I mean, I'm sure an extreme religious belief could do that in a sense, but it does seem to insinuate that there's some kind of use of something there that would change their personality so drastically.
Right, and it's a very, very easy tool to use to gain psychological and mental power over someone. Once someone is in such a vulnerable mental state, it's very easy to manipulate them. So I mean, who knows? They could have drugged them all during a service and said, "Look, you're seeing God. This is what I told you would happen if you just believed enough." And then they're in a euphoric state of mind, and this is enough to convince them that they're telling the truth. I mean, who knows? I mean, I'm just speculating here, but this happens a lot.
I wonder if they understand the huge contradiction in prepping for the end of times. To have all this money saved up and all this food saved up and all this stuff. It's the end of the world. What do you need it for? Is it so they can go down to bunkers and hide? And
well, like I said, I mean, it makes sense to believe that realistically, the only way to actually prepare in a group like this to prepare for doomsday would be only spiritually. So what they're probably doing is convincing them that they're being prepared spiritually, that when doomsday inevitably comes, that their souls will be saved and their souls will be safe.
And somebody in the comments may be able to add, but I think these people believe that they're going to survive it, and then they're going to rebuild it.
That's also, yeah. I mean, but how? How do you convince a mass amount of people that this is even possible? Because people are kind of stupid, but people aren't that stupid. You know what I mean?
Is that not what the 144,000 people that was referenced? Is that not what that is? Somebody may be able to comment down there, but I think that's what that is.
Yeah, that's what Amy's saying. Amy's saying that they are true believers, that they will survive and repopulate.
Yeah.
But don't they want to go with Jesus? Right? Isn't that their ultimate goal? They want to live in the kingdoms of heaven with their
Maybe they think, what's this guy's name? Chad. His name's Chad, right?
Who?
Who's the leader? The big cheese.
Christopher.
Christopher. Maybe they think that he is the second coming of Christ. And that he's going to lead them. Who knows? This is the manipulation that they use, and I mean, the Mormons. What did the Mormons believe? They believe that that Jesus, when he rose from the dead on Easter, that he kind of traveled all over the world and continued spreading his word. Right? Isn't that what they believe?
I'm not really sure. I'm not familiar with the Mormon faith, really. I don't know a lot of details on it.
I can't speculate on that.
So they think Jesus comes when the end comes. Do they believe that Jesus is going to live here on earth with them and rebuild? Is that what they believe?
Jeez, dude. What a mess.
Yeah, I don't know.
The millennium already happened. What do you, dude? That shit was 20 years ago.
Okay, Amy, thank you. Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so what's their
I'm
rationale for 20 years later? Hey, we got to recalculate this, guys. Give us a minute, but stick with us. Don't go anywhere.
yeah. Yeah.
We're
They for,
redoing some math, but let's stick with the millennium thing for now, okay, guys? I know it's
Hey,
20 years later.
Connie. Okay. AJ,
they,
aka
they forgot
Audrey,
to carry
said
the one.
AJ, aka Audrey, said that she's going to explain this. Their millennia means something different, Will.
Of course it does now that
It's
it
not
passed.
it's not.
Wait, guys, that's not the millennium we met. That's not no. There's another millennium. This kind.
Okay, so the LDS, we'll call it the LDS millennium, right? Side note, while we're waiting to figure out what this means, we have learned that Tylee did not support her mother's radical beliefs. From all we know, like she didn't believe in the stuff that Lori had been preaching in the recent year or two.
Yeah, I get that AJ meant something different, guys. I'm just like being silly and making jokes about these.
Yeah,
wacky people.
he's joking.
These are wacky people. I like to make fun of them. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot to wrap our heads around. We need to. Oh, you already wrote paragraphs in the chat. Okay, let me go back. Sorry, sometimes. Okay, so this Avow is a group that split from the official LDS sect. They believe some of the original doctrine, but then create their own as well. It's very dangerous. They're not as concerned about our physical life on Earth.
Oh, the millennium that they're referring to is the 1,000 years prophesied that Jesus will reign the earth.
Okay. So he's going to come back for 1,000 years. That's what it means, right?
Yeah. Explain that one.
Okay. And these are just Avow's beliefs, right? Or are these LDS beliefs?
That's not the belief right there. That's not the belief of a rational people, that somebody's going to be around for 1,000 years and rule the earth. Doesn't.
So Avow has taken $300 million and invested it for profit. Members tithing. Wow. It's just He will rule the earth, including governments.
How many tenths is that by?
doesn't sound fun at all, dude.
And they're going to rebuild the earth in the millennium.
I'm a borderline libertarian, dude, and that doesn't sound ideal in the slightest bit to me. That is not appealing. Somebody coming here and ruling everything for 1,000 years? I don't think so.
Hundreds of thousands.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid when that happens. It's not. No, I'm not sticking around for that shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. Amy said they want to turn the world over to the LDS, and when they die, find peace. They will survive. Many children prepping supplies. There is wow. Wow. What does it say? I agree, Amy. She said that she's going to say something unpopular, but a lot of religion is irrational. Yes, it is. Absolutely. I agree.
Most of it is.
Yeah, it's mostly politics, I believe.
And that's not to say anything against those who believe in God. But I mean, I don't want to get into a deep theological thing about it, but
right. I get it.
You know, but even rationally religious people have their own relationship with God. They just kind of use religious practices as a tool to stay close to God in their own way. Generally speaking. But yeah, when you become fanatical about religious practices, then yeah, it generally becomes an act of irrationality. Absolutely. It doesn't really make a lot of sense.
AJ Audrey said, when people die, they do not mourn. So
I kind of agree with that to a certain degree. I mean, if you really believe that that's when someone dies, that, you know, their spirit lives on in some way, then, you know, I could see how it could be construed as a good thing in some cultures. Sure.
But when you apply that to Lori and Chad,
well, no,
or just Lori.
Yeah, when you apply that to Lori, yeah.
I mean,
oh, you're talking about murder. That's a different thing. You don't get to say, okay, I'm going to kill you now, and I'm doing you a solid because you're going to live forever and everything. You're going to walk alongside Jesus when he comes back in 1,000 years, for 1,000 years.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So let's say she hurt her kids. Let's just talk about Lori. Take Chad out of it for a second. With her irrational beliefs and what she's following, does she think she's doing her kids a favor?
Well, probably.
Does she think she's saving them from this world? And
right. See, well, if you look at people,
I don't know.
You don't know?
I think so. Only because I think that people generally, whenever they do something horrible, somehow, and nobody thinks they're bad. Nobody ever thinks they're bad. They always find a way to justify their actions in their own mind. Always. Like Hitler thought he was saving the world. You know what I'm saying? By eliminating all the Jews, he thought he was saving the world. That was his mindset. He thought he was a hero. He had these delusions of grandeur that he was going to be saving all of humanity by his actions. So when you look at people like this who are high ups in a religious cult, it's very, very, very it's very logical to assume that they think on along the same lines.
Right. What do you think, Randy?
I can see that point of view, but it's also, if Tylee didn't buy into the views that her mother shared, it's likely that's why she did it.
Wow.
Damn it, Amy. What is eugenics? What does that mean?
Yeah, Jerica said she doesn't think so because she said that Tylee was level 3 evil or something like that.
Anybody know what eugenics means?
I'll Google it real quick. You're getting us tonight, Amy.
Yeah, man. Look, we get it. You're smart. There's a bunch of layman's here. Help us out.
Are you still there, Christina? You're quiet. The
Yeah, I'm
science.
still here.
Okay. The science of improving a human population by controlled breeding to increase the occurrence of desirable hair. Oh, that's what Hitler did.
So is that? I mean, that could be said for
Because
Jay
Hitler wanted
then. If
an Aryan
he had a
race.
if he had a disability.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, what are you guys arguing about down here?
If who had a disability?
JJ had
Oh, he was autistic. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I hate
ADHD.
that I'm referring to him in a past.
I know it's hard. It's. What are you guys arguing about down there in the comments? Because somebody said half of what
They all seem to be agreeing on like jumping on me for not knowing what that word means.
Oh no, Amanda said that it's bullshit by saying that the LDS don't grieve. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, yeah, of course, if you're human, you know, it stands logical again to say that, you know, if you're human and you're close to somebody and the reality hits you that you're never going to see them again without knowing for sure what happens when we die, then yeah, you're gonna mourn them. You're gonna miss them.
Right. Yeah, I don't really think that there's a way.
Yeah, how do you how do you get around that? There's no way to get around that.
There's not. I mean, it's just your absolute. But maybe the LDS mourning comes off. Maybe they do it more in private. You know.
Yeah, maybe there's a method. Maybe there's a ritual of some sort to where they follow.
Did they do like a celebration of life instead?
Right.
Which also makes sense to me.
Some cultures that do that.
Right.
Yeah, I could see that.
Didn't Vikings do that?
I feel like that. I know the Amish do that. The Amish, they don't do like a big party because they're Amish, but you know what I'm saying? Like they
we're gonna raise a barn, guys. Woo!
No, but they celebrate the death because their loved one is with God, and
Okay, Amanda Andrews, are you Mormon or? Because if you are, your insight would be extremely valuable in this chat.
Audrey, are you Mormon?
I don't think Audrey is, but I think Amanda Andrews might be.
Please don't think we're making fun of any religions or anything like that. This is just us.
Not at all. We're
talking.
We're speculating and trying to make sense of
trying to find
what their manner of thinking is.
We're not educated on the Mormon beliefs, so we just don't know what to. Audrey said, my point was, if these parents are fanatical in their beliefs, they may not appear the way others would if their kids were dead. That's a good point. And Audrey is not Mormon. Her family is. Her dad was a bishop in the Mormon church. Okay. Jerica's. Okay. Gotcha. Connie said they're a different sects of the Mormonism, so that might be where the disconnect is. Okay. Christina, do you know anything about the Mormon faith at all? I don't really.
I only know bits and pieces that Sienna has told us. I don't know a whole lot about it. I know that Lori referred to Tylee as a level 3 dark spirit, but I still haven't figured out what that is.
Okay.
A level 3 dark spirit? Is that something? I'm going to guess that that's something in AVO.
It's got to be.
Vow,
Yeah,
whatever
I
the
have
hell.
no idea what it is.
Level 3 dark spirit totally sounds like it comes from a cult.
Yeah.
Like some sort of cult doctrine. And Amanda Andrews is confirming that she's been to lots of Mormon funerals, or
Okay.
plenty of Mormon funerals, to determine that there's been crying and praying at these things. So
Okay.
so mourning does take place.
Okay. Okay. Where'd he go? Sorry, Hasselhoff. We didn't mean for it to take a weird turn. Sometimes we venture down rabbit holes of different parts of the stories, and we ventured down a Mormon rabbit hole because none of us are really familiar with it. But yeah, Lori did refer to Tylee as level 3. What was it, Christina? Level 3 dark spirit?
Dark spirit.
Yeah,
She
and
said that Tylee would be better off in the next life, and so would JJ because of his.
So she said that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she said that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason, even remotely whatsoever, why law enforcement is not assuming that these children are dead at this point. I mean, I'm just not seeing it.
I think that they are.
Right. I'm just saying it's, that they've got to be to a point to where they're just simply collecting evidence and building a case, because it will go
Right.
to trial.
Right.
It will go to trial. A lawyer's going to fight this because they have to find the bodies. If they're dead, they have to at least know what happened to the bodies, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lori had made the comment about driving off a cliff, just everybody driving off a cliff together. So yesterday, I guess there was a black SUV that drove off a cliff in California, and people were sharing that in our group. Like, could this be her? Could this be them? I mean, it's really scary when you see this stuff, because at that time, that black SUV hadn't been identified, I don't believe. So, yeah, Audrey, I wish they would say something too. Law enforcement hasn't given a press conference. It's like this case it's a very quiet case. It's still pretty low key. It's definitely gaining momentum though in the last 4 or 5 days for sure. Lori's oldest son, I don't know if it's their oldest son, but her adult son, I should say, Colby, has spoken out publicly, and he didn't even know his siblings were missing. It's really weird, Will, really weird, and I don't know. It's hopefully we see some answers soon. UC boss. To be fair, no matter what you believe, all people still say religious churches are cults.
Well, not
Mormon,
all people, but
Church of Christ, Pentecostal. Yeah, I've never really thought of religious churches as cults. I look at them as more like politics. I don't know, but really do some research on.
I mean, that's a whole nother conversation.
Right. Do some research on A Voice of Warning and Julie Rowe. It's unbelievable.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's there's religion where they say, "Hey, don't be a dick, or you're going to go to hell," and then there's cults that talk about level 3 dark spirits being in children, and
Right.
yeah, you get what I'm saying. That's not.
Absolutely.
There's a fundamental difference there in
Yeah,
beliefs.
absolutely. But on that note, I think we are gonna cut it off for the night. My battery's about to die on my computer. We are definitely gonna keep covering this case.
Yeah, I'm sucked into it.
Yeah, you're gonna have to come look at the group and read, and you'll be like, "Oh my gosh."
I'm terrible with groups now, man. The Watts case just turned me off to groups.
I hear you. I hear you.
But I mean, I'll definitely check it out. And I'm definitely going to be following any developments here. But this was super informative. Like everybody on this panel, like really filled me in quick on a lot of facts. So thank you
Yeah,
for that.
no problem. And see, the thing is there's so many facts, it's hard to even get them all out there. We'll probably have to do 10 lives just to get all the facts out there in this case. But thank you guys all for joining us. Please, if you're not subscribed to Will, please subscribe to him at the Glare. He's awesome. He's got some great perspective, great thought process, deep thinking. He's a
Yeah,
good guy.
it's a cult, actually.
It's a cult. You know what? I think Avo, I'll never say it right. A voice of warning. I think they told me Real Massacre Talk was a cult, but hey, believe what you want. All right, guys. Talk to you guys later. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for coming on, Will.
Hey,
Bye,
thank you.
Christina.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.